Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel. Most of the nation is waking up to a blast of Arctic weather this morning, from below zero temperatures in the upper Great Plains to ice in Texas and Arkansas. Forecasters are calling it the coldest weather system in decades, and it's already turned deadly. Across the country, temperatures plummeted overnight. A cold weather system delivering a wintry punch to 24 states. Meteorologists say it's one of the coldest air masses to hit the U.S. since the 1990s. Slick and icy roads are making driving conditions dangerous, causing hundreds of accidents. Fatal crashes have been reported across several states, at least 5 of them in Minnesota.
Oh, we're gonna hit! We're gonna hit!
People started going into the ditch, losing control of their vehicles.
But the dangerous conditions aren't stopping postal workers in northern Minnesota, even after 2 feet of snow.
It's not always the most enjoyable time of year when we have bad weather conditions, but we all try to stay in the Christmas spirit.
Forecasters say a new storm is expected to develop today in New Mexico and West Texas. The Texas Department of Transportation says it's prepared.
We already have all of our equipment and manpower strategically placed throughout the district, and they're in areas where they can be quickly and easily mobilized when the time comes.
Unfortunately, the storm is expected to hit just in time for the Dallas Marathon. Runners say they're not sure they're prepared for the wintry conditions.
I don't run on ice being from Houston.
Widespread power outages are expected as the storm continues south and then east. The National Weather Service warned that heavy ice and snow accumulations will likely bring down power lines, leading to outages that could take days to repair. And doctors warn people to be on the lookout for frostbite, especially in areas where the temperature is dropping near below freezing. For example, in places like Bismarck, North Dakota, where the wind chill has dropped to 40 below, frostbite can set in after only 10 minutes. A truck containing radioactive material was recovered in Mexico this week, and authorities say whoever came in contact with its contents is in grave danger. The truck containing cobalt-60 was stolen from a gas station on Monday. Both the truck and its contents were found 2 days later abandoned in central Mexico. Authorities say no public risk remains, but whoever came in contact with the cobalt-60 is likely to die soon from exposure. A ruling is expected this week in the case of the Colorado baker who refused to sell a wedding cake to a gay couple because of his Christian faith. The couple is pursuing a discrimination suit against the owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop. The attorney for the baker, Jack Phillips, says, "We don't believe that this is a case about commerce. At its heart, this is a case about conscience." She says this battle will serve as an example for future cases across the country as more gay couples gain legal recognitions for their relationships. A similar case is pending in Washington state, where a florist is being sued for not providing service for a same-sex wedding. Republicans on Capitol Hill continue their investigation into the failed debut of the president's health care law. California Republican Darrell Issa called for a hearing to highlight the limitations of big government. He says Obamacare has removed people from the process and has driven up health care costs. He also believes the law ultimately will be financially unsustainable as more people enroll and the government becomes a bigger health care buyer.
The limitations on big government will never include preventing waste in a massive scale. It will always happen, and this committee will do everything it can to reduce it, to organize it.
Another hearing looked at how Obamacare will affect the 14 million people currently covered by Medicare Advantage, including billions of dollars in funding cuts set to begin next year. After months of failures and bad news, President Obama is trying to gain support once again for the Democratic health care law. But some liberals say it's not enough, and the government should have even more power over the health care system. That would come under a plan called single payer. Paul Strand has this look at just what that could mean.
Some critics warn that Obamacare, with its thousands of pages of mandates, rules, and regulations, is sure to cause insurers to have to hike their prices so high, many people will have to flee them. And then there's something called the death spiral. Numerous analysts warn could crash Obamacare.
If young and healthy people don't buy insurance, the insurance pool gets older and sicker. That means the younger and healthier drop out further, premiums rise, and so on until the whole system collapses.
Some liberals are already saying that the problems with Obamacare mean the country should go to a different system, the single-payer plan. Some describe that as a total nationalizing or government takeover, with government being the single payer for health care. And no more private insurance.
Well, essentially, single payer is the government operating as the only purchaser of health care for everybody.
Many senators wanted single payer, but couldn't get enough votes when Obamacare was hammered out in messy negotiations. This August, Majority Leader Harry Reid said on a local Nevada show,
"Don't think we didn't have a tremendous number of people who wanted a single payer system."
Barack Obama has expressed support for the idea in the past.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan.
But despite support among some politicians and liberal pundits, critics warn single payer has serious problems.
We really just can't afford this.
So that could mean the U.S. taxes would have to go up, way up. Paul Roderick Gregory writes in Forbes that to have a single payer system like Europe, quote, Americans would pay about 45% of their earnings for federal taxes on income alone. And Tanner argues that single-payer systems lead to rationing health care.
A single-payer system cannot provide unlimited health care to everyone. It would simply bankrupt the country. So it's going to have to limit care in some ways, and that's going to be sort of arbitrary top-down rationing, if you will.
Tanner and others point to the problems some countries already have with single payer, like Britain.
There's about 750,000 people awaiting admission to National Health Service hospitals every year. They cancel some 50,000 surgeries every year because the patient got too sick on the waiting list for them to go forward.
When you talk about health care reform in Britain, the first thing, is, well, how is your proposal going to reduce the waiting list? I mean, that's the first question they ask.
In Canada today, there's about 800,000 people on the waiting list, and no less than the Canadian Supreme Court, which is hardly known as a right-wing organization, in a 2005 case said that some people were going to die while on the waiting list up there.
Will the U.S. end up moving to single payer? It would be a tough sell. Obamacare is already proving massively unpopular. The president's promises of keeping your health plan and doctor haven't proven true. And critics say single payer would be even worse.
The problem with a single payer system ultimately is that it means someone else besides you is going to be making decisions about your health care.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
MSNBC host Martin Bashir resigned Wednesday over graphic remarks he made about former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. Last month, Bashir suggested on his show that someone should defecate in Palin's mouth. He made that crude and inflammatory statement after she said the United States' indebtedness to China was like slavery. Bashir went on to criticize Palin, saying she had a diseased mind. After MSNBC didn't fire Bashir, Palin had spoken out, saying the liberal network appeared to approve of Bashir's comments. A federal judge has refused to block a school prayer in a county in South Carolina. The ruling says Greenville County schools can continue to allow student-led prayer and hold school events in places of worship while a lawsuit over the issues continues. The American Humanist Association filed suit earlier this year against the school county, seeking to prevent future events in religious venues. The suit says a student was offended and distressed when Mountain View Elementary School held its graduation ceremony at a Christian University chapel. A Christian legal group has filed a federal lawsuit on behalf of a 7th grader against her middle school in Bonner Springs, Kansas. A school counselor told her she couldn't pass out flyers promoting See You at the Pole prayer events for students. The Alliance Defending Freedom says the counselor violated the students' First Amendment rights to free speech and equal protection. The group says the counselor told her the flyers couldn't be posted because they contained religious material. The superintendent says the administrative staff wasn't notified of the problem and that See You at the Pole was announced over the school intercom system. It is the second year Christmas signs have mysteriously popped up in the city of Redmond, Washington. And while some people are taking issue with it, most people in Redmond, including the mayor, seem to be okay with the signs. They read, "It's okay to say Merry Christmas," followed by a Bible verse.
I feel that it's okay to say Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa or whatever holidays that I don't know about that people here celebrate.
I would consider it offensive. It's kind of like everybody else is free to express their opinion. Why cannot Christians?
The signs are placed in the city right of way, and the city right of way is restricted for, or not restricted, but available for free speech. And this is a form of free speech, just like political signs are and other signs.
So far, no religious group or church has taken ownership of the signs. The city mayor says he is not going to take them down. An iconic Norman Rockwell painting about praying in public has been sold at auction for a record-setting $46 million. The painting is titled Saying Grace. It shows a crowded restaurant with a grandmother and grandson praying at their table. Sotheby's says it is the highest price ever paid at auction for an American painting. The image first appeared on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post magazine's Thanksgiving issue back in 1951. Another Rockwell painting, The Gossips, sold for just under $8.5 million, and his Walking to Church painting fetched a little more than $3 million. Coming up, Christians worldwide face growing hostility and persecution. You may be surprised at who is rallying to defend them.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Millions of Americans with an ostomy live their lives to the fullest every day. And over the last 10 years, thousands have chosen Liberator Medical as their caring and reliable resource for ostomy supplies. Liberator Medical is a nationally accredited Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance provider, so we can handle all your Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance paperwork and billing. And Liberator Medical has been chosen as a preferred supplier by all the leading ostomy manufacturers, including Coloplast, Hollister, Convatec, and Generics. We supply all these leading ostomy brands so you can always get the ostomy supplies and accessories you want and trust. And all of our ostomy care specialists are product certified by the manufacturers. Shipping is free and discreetly delivered right to your door. Unhappy with your present ostomy supplier? Call Liberator Medical and ask about our free ostomy sampling program. We also offer catheters and urological supplies.
Call 1-800-513-3076. That's 1-800-513-3076.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Egypt's most famous Christian convert from Islam has been arrested by national security forces. CBN News reporter Gary Lane has met and interviewed Mohammed Higazi. Higazi had fought publicly to try and change his religion on his ID card. Muslims who changed their religion face persecution in Egypt. Higazi and his family had been running for their lives after Muslim leaders pronounced a death sentence against him. He previously told CBN News he had been jailed and tortured by Egyptian state security agents who wanted him to return to Islam. Now, Mideast Christian News reports he has been arrested again. Deadly threats to the American pastor imprisoned in Iran are increasing. The American Center for Law and Justice reports Pastor Saeed Abedini has been repeatedly robbed and threatened at knife point by other prisoners. The ACLJ also says his health is quickly deteriorating in the prison where he was recently transferred. Iranian authorities refuse to give him his medication. ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow is in Europe meeting with key foreign diplomats and world leaders. He's urging them to apply pressure on Iran through increased sanctions for Pastor Saeed's release. Log on to cbnnews.com to learn how you can make your voice heard for Pastor Saeed. A growing wave of persecution faces both Jews and Christians worldwide. One Jewish leader says the two groups must stand together in the face of increasing violence. Chris Mitchell has the story from Jerusalem.
I will not be silent, and we will not be silent.
That's the message Ron Lauder, president of the World Jewish Congress, takes to Christians these days about Jewish support for persecuted Christians.
Silence is the biggest help to anti-Semitism or anti-Christianity. One of the things we've seen over and over again is that when you talk out and you fight back, people react.
Historians blame public apathy for helping lead to the horrors of World War II. The World Jewish Congress, founded in 1936, became the diplomatic arm for Jewish people worldwide.
We see the same recurrence we saw in the 1930s, and it's very scary. But there's also an anti-Christian feeling. We've seen it in the Middle East particularly, when churches are burned, when people are killed.
Lauder noted that some 450,000 Christians have fled Syria, and in Bethlehem, the Christian population has dropped from a high of 70% to around 15 to 20% today. He also told CBN News about two types of anti-Semitism growing in Europe today. The first masquerades as anti-Israel feeling, mainly stirred by Muslim populations in Western Europe. The second is pushed by extremists in Eastern Europe and elsewhere.
These extremes have to blame somebody for the problems, and they're blaming the Jewish people once again.
Lauder is viewed as the leader of the Jewish community worldwide. His background as a former senior Pentagon official and U.S. ambassador to Austria puts him in a unique position to speak to world leaders. In an unprecedented move, Lauder thanked thousands of Christians during September's Feast of Tabernacles celebration for their support for Israel.
Thank you for standing on the right side of history. Thank you for standing with God. And thank you for standing with us, the Jewish people. And lastly, thank you for standing here in Jerusalem, the eternal, undivided capital of the State of Israel.
David Parsons called the speech an historic moment in diaspora Jewish-Christian relations.
There aren't many prominent diaspora leaders who have done this in the way that he did, coming and openly and profusely thanking us for our support and actually saying, we want to partner with you. You've stood with us on Jerusalem. Guess what? We want to stand with you on the issue of the persecution of Christians in Muslim countries.
Every time something's done, be it to Jews or to Christians, it hurts us all. We must work together.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, we go behind the scenes of a new Christmas movie with Jennifer Hudson, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, and co-produced by T.D. Jakes.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans. with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
The story of the gospel is back on the big screen in a modern-day musical starring Oscar winner Jennifer Hudson, and it's produced by Bishop T.D. Jakes. The movie is called Black Nativity, and it shows that families often have to fight to stay together in tough times. Ephraim Graham brings us this story.
Jennifer Hudson brings her big voice back to the big screen for Black Nativity.
Jennifer, you won an Academy Award for your first one. Why did you choose this to come back to musicals?
Because I loved all the elements that was in it as far as the family aspect, music, the church roots in it, and just the fact that I feel as though we don't have enough of those films out there that brings families together, you know, at least not today. And I grew up off of things like that, so I'm like, I want to see this come back, and I want to be a part of it, you know, and helping bringing it back.
We've been evicted? I thought you were going to work something out with the bank. I thought we could win it back.
I've been trying. It's hard getting that much together.
So we gotta move?
Hudson plays a single mother, separated from her parents, struggling to raise her teenage son, Langston.
Help me.
He's tried to be the man of the house his whole life. So really he tries not to show emotion, but it's there.
R&B singer and Disney star Jacob Lattimore plays Langston.
Even though I'm the leading character, it's a lot of times where I don't even have dialogue, where it's more I'm sort of speaking with my face. And I have to say that was probably one of the most biggest challenges. What helps me getting in character is having a great cast.
You made a mistake. I was told to expect my grandson, not some pickpocket.
Trouble at home forces Langston to spend Christmas with grandparents he's never met. They're played by Forrest Whitaker and Angela Bassett.
How would each of you describe your characters? You, grandma, you, grandfather, and minister. How would you describe you, grandma?
You can call me grandpa.
You can
Please don't say grandma.
That's right. Wife,
slow down.
Partner, first lady. There's so many other ways you can describe her before you get to
grandma.
Nana.
The story unfolds in modern-day Harlem. Many of the scenes take place here at St. Luke's Episcopal Church, where young Langston's grandfather is pastor.
Go on and tell Jesus in your time of trouble.
Reverend Cornell Cobbs successfully leads his flock, but struggles to hold his own family together.
And I think that's very typical to what it's really like in real life, you know. You play out a scenario in the pulpit that is our ideals. That's what ministers do. We talk from the perspective of our ideals, but you go home and you live in your realities. And sometimes the gulf between your ideals and realities is so far that bridging that gap is a lifelong pursuit.
That authentic story is why Bishop T.D. Jakes signed on as a producer with Casey Lemons.
Look in your eyes.
Lemons wrote and directed the film. We visited her on set during the 33 days of shooting what she calls the most emotional work of her career.
My sister died in the process of working on it. And that was an extremely hard loss for me, like cataclysmic. And I didn't know, not just that I was ever going to be able to write again, but really how I was going to move forward with that loss. And so somehow I put all my feelings and into the piece in a way that I can't quite describe, but I did. So it's very personal.
There is a rich history behind this big screen production of Black Nativity. The play was written by Harlem Renaissance poet Langston Hughes and first performed off-Broadway back in 1961.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
And just like the 1961 production, this adaptation is filled with unforgettable music.
I got a mouth
And Casey Lemon says there is one message in both the music and the storyline.
For me, it contained what I think are very human questions. You know, how do you keep going and keep believing when so much bad has happened? You know, how do you have faith? You know, how do you keep having faith? And the answer that I put into the script is, you know, proof of God's grace is all around you. You just have to open your eyes.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
Do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? Brian and Alice Jagosh, the inventors of the halftime drill driver, did. They invented a power drill attachment that lets you drill, flip, and drive in seconds. Brian and Alice licensed their invention to the company that brought you the Snuggie, and it's now selling in major retailers nationwide. Look for the Invent Help Caveman on the package. If you have an invention that you would like to try to patent and submit to companies for possible review and want free information on how Invent Help may be able to assist you, call now. Invent Help is America's largest inventor service company with sales offices in more than 60 cities nationwide. Call Invent Help today for free information. Our clients made a financial gain with their invention, but this is just their individual result. Brian and Alice's experience is not typical, as only a very small number of inventions are licensed or sold in stores.
For your free inventors information, call 1-800-559-8567. That's 1-800-559-8567.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Finally today, the video of a miracle survival story has gone viral this week. Harrison Okene, a Nigerian cook, is the lone survivor of a 12-member crew of an upended tugboat. And he attributes it all to prayer. Footage of his rescue more than 6 months ago was just posted online this week. Okene found an air pocket in the boat and says he was praying to God the whole time, reciting Psalm 54, also called the prayer for deliverance. He prayed, "Oh God, by your name, save me. The Lord sustains my life." That was the last psalm his wife had sent him via text message. He believes his rescue after more than 60 hours at 100 feet underwater is a sign of divine deliverance. We have to agree with him. It is truly a miracle. Well, that's it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day. God bless.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. all the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.